Hello, podcast viewers and listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Sloss and Humphries on the road, where I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a miserable fucking cunt for most of this one because my family have left Australia and I'm dealing with that very poorly. And because I didn't want to be angry when they were here, I've also decided to give up nicotine. So it's a real clusterfuck of rage from me, and I promise it'll be better in the future. I'll be happier. We're going to go to the gym. I'll do all the things that are good for a positive mental health thing. Kai does his best. Tries his best to make it funny, and we do make it funny at points. But yeah, I mean, I'm really visibly angry, and God, I hate the Spanish. You'll hear lots of that during this fight, and they've not even done anything recently. My anger needs to go somewhere, and whenever it does, that's where it goes. We're really horrible about all religions. We're really intolerant about other people. It's very angry. It's just an unpleasant podcast, really. Enjoy.
Sloss and Humphries on the road.
Muggins and Cream, Cream and Muggins, straight thuggin', living the dream.
That's our intro.
Fucking muggles.
Tickling the clit inside your head that makes you laugh. They said it can't be done.
How's the nicotine withdrawal going? Are you on day one?
I am on day one after, we started this podcast late because there is a comedian whose throat I want to fucking slit because of their fucking behaviour. It's their delusional fucking behaviour.
It's so funny how when because I had I'm a week ahead of you. I stopped a week ago with the vapes, and I was just getting annoyed at the slightest little things, and even good friends of mine were winding us up to the point I'm just I want to rip heads off here. So now you're at that point, but you're on social media, just hating on other comics' output.
Not other comics, one individual comic who is, let's not do it. He's a friend. The fucking gall though, the nerve.
It's so funny because I woke up there ranting in a WhatsApp group. I woke up to hear this guy and I was just his family's just went home.
Oh, well, I handled that poorly yesterday.
It's because Caelan's not here. And then I got up and I was like, oh, it's much simpler than that.
Oh, no, it's an amalgamation of all the things. Yeah. Yesterday was rough.
You emptied a bottle of whiskey as soon as your family left?
Yeah.
It's fucking Hank Moody shit.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell, True Detective. You just had a solo sesh.
I watched the Masters highlights on fucking day 3. Drank whiskey, got sad.
I've been really keen on the treadmill. I've gamified the treadmill now. Every time I walk back from the gym, I leave Natalie a voice memo with my updates because she's usually in bed or whatever when I'm doing that, time zones and whatever. And I'm just and I just have to give you updates on me running because otherwise it's a secret. I can't go into that household and be like, hey, Daniel, do you want to hear about my run and my breakdown of what I did? And then you would look at us why did you just interrupt me doing nothing to tell me that? And then I'd be like, hey, Matthew, Jack, do you want to hear about my run? And they would both just leave the room. Yeah. I was it's so lonely living with the Slosses.
Well, I don't think any of us engage in utter... Well, I know, the mundane chat's for your partner. That's what it's there for. That's so you do the updates. But you're right, we've got friends like that, and maybe it's something I need to work on. But when somebody just tells you something about their day and you're like, man, I did not ask. And that's why you told me. Because you knew I was never going to ask. Because deep down, you know how boring that is. And that's why you've come in there and been like, oh, did I tell you about this book I read recently? Why would I care what you read?
Dave's made me feel bad about how I conduct myself because he just asks loads of questions to people. And I'm like, oh, that's how you're meant to be as a person.
Yeah,
that's what you're meant to do.
Yeah, he does engage because he's got a curious mind.
He wants to know the ins and outs of your job. He wants to know how you got to where you are. He wants not just us as comedians, but Marlena and her line of work. And he's just I sat for breakfast listening to Dave asking Marlena questions. Marlena, who I've known intimately for 15 years. And I learned more about her in that breakfast than I have from our 15 years of encounters because he just asked loads of correct questions to stimulate that, to talk about her past and everything. And I'm oh, you can actually find out information about people instead of...
Oh, right, yeah.
You can actually pull that closer.
Also, could we But the bit where he says that he's known Marlena intimately for 15 years. And can we just get that on the button, please? Because that's not what he meant to say, but he did say it.
No, intimately is like, you know, you're close to someone. I know you intimately. I don't.
Sexual. It's sexual. It's spooning and fingering.
I used to think
spooning and fingering.
Well, intimate.
100%. It's kissing it. It's kissing at the very least.
I
If
know
you know
someone-
someone intimately, you've snogged them.
Nah, you can. Okay.
Yeah, if you get intimate with someone.
Yeah, I get that. I get that getting intimate with someone, but like, I think you can say it about like as hyperbole for when. Did I just say I fuck Marlena?
I think you did.
Because you know that's not the worst thing I've ever done. I used to just think something meant a gift. And I told Grassy
Aye.
I had a little something for my goddaughter,
Oh, no.
and I just meant a card with money in it.
To pay her for the sex.
I got a little something for your 12-year-old. I think surely like if you've got like the people that you're friends with who like you chat to when you see them and you like occasionally text them,
Yeah.
but your friends who you know intimately, you'll be like people who you have deep and meaningful conversations with. It doesn't just mean you're shagging them and kissing them, does
I mean,
it?
it does in
That's
my
how I
world.
use it.
Aye.
You just use it as shagging and kissing.
No, as like you know the person a bit more.
Yeah,
like a best friends. A bit more.
Well, feel free to use it in your lexicon. It's not entering mine. I
Oh,
will never say the words, I know Marlena intimately.
We get intimate
No.
twice a week for our fans.
I get because Dave's curiosity. Like I'm like, oh, maybe I just don't have a curious mind. But then I'm also like, you know, he lives up in Aberdeen. He's done. I mean, he's worked in a couple of jobs and stuff. But like this side of the world and this side of the industry stuff, it must be very fucking interesting. Because I mean, I certainly had all these questions and this curiosity, and like when I was hanging out with Frankie before I started comedy doing stuff, I was definitely asking all those sort of questions. And then now I just know about it. And then also, in a really bad way, man, I can tell when somebody's fucking interesting. I can tell pretty fucking quickly when somebody when it has anything in their head of value that I need in my life. And if they don't, I'm not asking you any fucking questions.
I'm not going to mine them for information.
No, man.
It's so funny,
It'd be like, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to chip for concrete. And you go, you're not going to look for any precious metals because there's a gold vein over there. There's an old guy over there. Fucking hell. That's like platinum. You're just going to talk to...
You're going to go fishing in the puddle, are you?
Aye. Talking to taxi drivers. That's what it is.
You know what's funny as well? If I go down to Liverpool and I hang out with like Brett and Ricketts and Matty, like I get back to all the questions from Natalie that I should have asked when I was down there.
Oh, I think that is just a fucking like a gender thing because Cara all the time she's like, so how's Ali getting on work? And I'm like, I don't know.
No idea.
She's like, you know, Beebs Jordan has had a new job for. I've been calling him a chef for a year. She's like, he's not a chef. He's a travel agent. And I'm like, he's a fucking chef.
Shut up, man.
Aye.
What do you know?
My
friend.
Why do you not ask these questions? Because what a boring conversation to have with your friend, with your mate, somebody you've known for fucking years. How's work? What are your co-workers like? We're best mates. We're going to make fun of people that we used to fucking know.
Tell us about your goals at work. Said to next to Ricketts. So what's next for you then?
Aye.
Do you have a growth mindset? Like, I'll come back and she'll like that. They'll be like, "Oh, so what's the wedding plans and all that? Where they're up to, what they're doing?" And I'll be like, "I know that he blames the ref for the Liverpool result, but I can't tell you anything."
Why just like do you think there's more meaning to those fucking conversations? Like I don't believe.
Do you know what it is? You're going to meet up with a mate to have a laugh.
Yeah.
And having a laugh isn't just reminding them of the shit they do when they're not off work.
Yeah, it's escapism. Like if I've got something about my life that I want to tell you about it, I'll tell you that. But I'm not just going to waterboard you with my fucking. That's what Cara's there for, right? That's why you get into relationships, just so they can be the the bouncing mat that you basically
Oh,
just
the person
throw
that
your...
cares when you tell them about your run.
Yes, aye, somebody that cares about the mundane shit in your life because, you know, they love you and you being passionate about anything or you enjoying something brings them joy. Like, when Cara tells me about her day, even if it's boring, I genuinely find it interesting. I'm curious as to why she makes the decisions that she makes and why, you know, how did that make her feel there? That's interesting. It's reserved only for her. It's reserved only for her. And probably my children when they grow up.
Would you cringe to death if, like, if I eavesdropped your small talk?
100%. Oh yeah, yeah. I'd kill Cara first, and then I'd
The
kill,
witness.
and then
You kill Cara and just go, no one will believe you.
just yeah. No, I would.
Because I haven't taken baby voice or anything like that, but I do with my dog.
I talk in baby voice.
I'd probably be more embarrassed if people saw how I talk to my dog than if they saw how I talk to my wife.
Um,
Did you not have like small talk when you were living with people like Jean or anything?
I've lived with him.
Stuck with them all day.
yeah, I can. If we live together, I can quite easily go 3 weeks without fucking talking to you. Like pure and fucking like unless you have anything of value to tell me, like. Like it's Marlena because we're doing this. You're going to Melbourne, and I'm going away to do some other places.
Oh yeah, we're splitting up now, aren't we?
I'm
starting my world tour.
So Connor Burns is supporting me on some of the dates, and Marlena's like, "Do you want to share a taxi with us?" And I'm like, "Marlena, I will never, ever, ever. The only person who I go through an airport with is Kai, because Kai understands that the second we leave the taxi and go into the airport, it's every man for himself, right? And you're the exact same.
If I've got my bags checked in first, I'm not like hovering around waiting for him to.
And I'm like, don't wait for me.
Like,
fuck off. Go live your fucking life. We're not gonna. We are not going to talk or communicate in this airport.
Just want to hold hands as well, do you?
So poor Connor has to go through with Marlena, and I'm like, no, I'm getting a separate taxi. I do not travel. Like I'll travel with my family when, you know.
You know what though? They're like early stage of their in the first few years of their partnership.
Yeah.
That does sound worse than intimate.
Oh yeah.
Of working together.
Yeah.
As agent and client. So that will probably be valuable time for both of them, actually.
Aye.
Whereas like we're 15 years in, and we're like, we've had these chats.
Yeah. And it's just like it's like I think the other thing that fucking I know this is a shitty bit of like I've just been addicted to your phone, but it's just, man, when you're on the phone and somebody just comes up and talks to you, it's like, how fucking arrogant are you that you think you're more entertaining than all of the information in every bit of art that's ever been fucking created, everything that's ever, the greatest thoughts, the greatest philosophy. Am I consuming any of that? No. I'm on Reddit. No. But how fucking dare you think you are more interesting than this thing that is designed to keep me fucking interested?
I hate them things of like when it shows you like people on a train on their phones and you're just like, oh look, like as if it's like a fucking mirror up to society, and you're like, as opposed to what? Like chatting to that boring cunt that might be a psycho.
Yeah.
Like fucking spoiling that woman's day by chatting about when she just wants to be left alone.
Yeah.
Like, of course I'm gonna text me wife or like fucking interact with your fans or like fucking whatever the fuck is going on in your world is way more here than it is there. Yeah, I knew you were going to show me a bit of stand-up the other day. It's like you fucking knocked on my door in my room. Like, not just like when I'm reading or when I've got headphones on, when I'm like, I might even be having a wank.
Aye.
And you showed us a bit of stand-up and I was like, this is going to be good, this. Because you've got such a high threshold for what's worth interrupting somebody for.
Oh, yeah, because if I thought it was just fine stand-up, I would have just sent you on fucking Instagram, but it was one of those bits where I'm like, you objectively need to see how fucking good and funny this is. Aye. And I think that's I think quality control for your conversation is really fucking crucial, and it should be taught much like taxes in primary school and high school.
Because you know that if it does, like if you do get interrupted, you're like, it's going to be worthwhile.
Yeah,
you're safe in the hands of this person that's interrupting.
Like you are allowed to offer out boring information and tell stories that lead to fucking nothing, but also understand that there are consequences to that, and which is every time you tell me a boring story, the likelihood that I'm going to listen to the next conversation that you come up to me is less and less, and then I'll just fucking delete your number off my phone.
I was busy doing Wim Hof breathing exercises when you bust in, and I was on the exhale. So you were showing us a bit of stand up, and I was doing 2 minutes of holding my breath out. So I was like, you just went in, I was like,
It's only 35 seconds long, you'll be fine.
I was laughing through my ears. You can hear my ears popping. I did that when we had a Ukrainian lass living with us for 6 months last year. And I was starting to do. I'd read the Wim Hof method thing. It was like it was me fucking thingy of habits and self improvement and all that shit, right? And I added that to my daily routine. And I was fucking doing these breathing exercises on the couch in the living room in the house on my own. And she like come back from college or whatever, like fucking just come in the door, and I was fully dressed on the couch, out of breath, with no TV on. I was just like, it's exactly how it looks. I don't even know how to explain this to you because it's such a fucking language barrier as well. I was like, you heard of Wim Hof? Him Wof? Like,
Well, not even just a language barrier, an accent fucking barrier.
And probably just, even if she hadn't heard of that guy, I was just like, I'm just doing breathing. I don't know even how to explain myself. I'm just doing a breath on the couch. I'm unfit.
You and Marlena are often guilty for that, and it's like it's a pet peeve I get. And I know we've been on tour too long when it starts to fucking get into my head, which is why it's in my head now that I'm nicotine withdrawals. Marlena's worse for it. You're bad for it. When speaking to someone whose first language is not English, the shit you choose to talk, the shit that you think is going to be like, this'll reach across the boundaries. Do you watch EastEnders? What are you why are you talking to a Russian man about EastEnders? Football. It's always football. If it's a bloke, football. If it's a girl, the moon. Right? Just common.
Star signs.
Yeah, something. Marlena.
You're trying to explain to an Indian taxi driver about chip butties.
Oh my! I fucking want to break my and just using colloquialisms and not using common language, not in your head, mentally going right. What are the first words that we're all taught in every language? He, him, them. It was the chip butties. We've got a chip butt. He doesn't fucking give a fuck about chip butties, Marlena. He doesn't care about chip sandwiches. And stop mentioning the name of the chip shop. It's such a relevant information when you're trying.
You're just there in the back end. Well, there goes my Uber rating. My Uber rating's ruined.
No, I reckon I've got a terrible Uber rating, and that's because there is no do not talk to me option on Uber, I will just, the second I go in, headphones on, and if you talk to me, I'll just stare at you and nod.
I'll give them a second attack with football if I've like, oh, I'm not, I got up early this morning for the football, and then I'm just like, that's just like, you can tackle us with that and that only. All right, now headphones on.
Yeah.
But I don't want to cash in on Molly because I am bad at it. Like I am bad because I remember one time I was just really high and I was in Texas and I was talking to this couple that were like, draw hillbillies and don't change it any. That's the couple I was talking to. And I just was so high and I was just filling the air and I was chatting away and I could see on their faces I'd lost them ages ago. I'd lost them fucking yonks ago and I just couldn't stop talking. I was like, the minute I stop talking, I'm going to put them in the awkward situation of having to respond. And they don't know how to.
Yeah, because
they don't know how to respond because they're so lost.
Yeah. So this, like, if in other countries, like, it's important to be able to like go over there and be like, okay, like, what is life like here? Do you like this? Is this thing common? Not. Do you get Peaky Blinders on Netflix over here? Slow down, for the love of God. What are we doing? In fact, Peaky Blinders would actually be a good
show.
Maybe they do watch that because that's got subtitles.
That might actually be Hands Across the Water.
Aye. You say Peaky Blinders is good.
I fucking love Peaky Blinders,
I've heard from other people that it's piping hot shit.
Nah, they're just fucking like... I feel like it's like someone going The Sopranos or shit. It's just like a fucking good, solid... Good characters, good story.
The Sopranos is shit if you go in expecting it to be anything about the mafia. Like, if you watch, like, I hate The Sopranos the first time I watched the first 3 episodes. I'm like, what the fuck? There's nothing mafia-like is happening.
You know what I quite like about it is that they keep referencing, like, Goodfellas and The Godfather and stuff like that. Now, I think from John Hastings that that the mafia didn't dress and act like that really until Mario Puzo, or whatever he's called, the writer of The Godfather, like made them into this image, and then that become like a self-fulfilling prophecy, and they started acting like that. And I really think they did a good job, of like them trying to act like the Goodfellas and the Godfather version of the mafia.
What was it? Yeah. I mean, by the way, I love The Sopranos. Once you realise that it's a family drama comedy and not a mafia thriller sort of thing.
It's class. It's a fucking good sitcom. It's a dramatic sitcom. For me, I find it funny as fuck.
I couldn't stand. I did 40 minutes of Peaky Blinders once, and I'm so sorry because I love gigging in Birmingham. Even though I think Birmingham is a fucking shithole and it's not been bombed enough. It's one of the worst accents in the world.
I think because me and Natalie watched one episode of it. Bindic, and I cannot listen to that accent, man.
Oh, it's horrific.
Right, and then give it like a couple of years, and then fucking heard of enough people that were trusted that it was class, and then persevered with it. And by the end, like I fucking started liking the accent because he totally, what's his name, Cillian Murphy, Tommy Shelby. He just fucking absolutely fucking owned it, like reinvented it completely, and just was just like it would be like someone really fucking cool being called Ken. And just making the name Ken cool again.
Aye.
And you're like, all right,
oh, as in Barbie's boyfriend?
Aye.
You don't think Barbie's boyfriend's cool?
Did I actually nicked a bit there off a point-and-click adventure called Beneath the Steel Sky, where the robot was called Ken, and he was like, well, I'm going to run with this. That's why I chose the name Ken.
There you go.
It was one of them, when I was saying it, I was like, why did you go for Ken? You've absorbed that from somewhere. You haven't stolen another comedian's bit, have you? That's, when you're just like,
Yeah.
I've like, that come too quick to us. And I managed to recall that it was from a game that I played in probably 1993.
Was that back in what was the fucking Monkey Island? Was it?
Monkey Island back in that day. So I fucking loved them games, man. If I like,
I did too.
That was my absolute fucking genre of game that I went for. Them games that came with 12 discs.
Yeah.
12 floppy disks, and every time you changed scene, you had to put fucking 3 disks in to change the level. There was that, Beneath the Steel Sky, Simon the Sorcerer. There's a good one called Loom, which was like a twist on it. There was Discworld.
Have you gone back to revisit these games?
I've completed Monkey Islands again.
And how did they hold up?
Good, because they remastered them and put voices on them, and you didn't have to change discs.
Oh,
so I
good,
don't know
okay.
I don't know what it would be like for somebody that was just playing it for the first time, but for somebody who had played it through adversity, having to fucking read everything before the subtitles disappear, having to fucking change the discs and all the time to be able to just play it cleanly. It was fucking beautiful for me. I don't know what it would be like for somebody playing it for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, because like, I just say because like revisiting things that you used to love as a kid is always a dangerous thing, because either it fully like opens up the nostalgia, it's as good as you remember and it's amazing, or like I used to love Keenan and Kel. Like it was my favourite fucking TV show.
I don't imagine you can go back to that.
They put it on Netflix for a bit.
Who loves orange soda?
Kel loves orange soda.
Is it true?
I can't even do it because
Catchphrase comedy is your favourite?
it's just, I mean, I know it's for children, and I know watching it as a fucking adult, I shouldn't be laughing. But again, I was high, so I was like, surely just the nostalgia of this. Like, I laughed at The Simpsons when I was a kid, and The Simpsons is still funny now that I go back and watch it. But it was piping hot. Saved by the Bell.
I think I've only ever watched Saved by the Bell and Keenan and Kel where the characters have been older than me. You couldn't cope with watching it where they were full 2 generations younger than you.
Yeah, or also that like I think, watching 20-year-olds play 13-year-olds, and then you as a 30-year-old being like, no.
That was so funny about back then, like Porky's. They were fucking grown-ups. Porky's the original.
I recognise the name of it.
The original American Pie experience was called Porky's. And it was just hairy dudes pretending to be 15-year-olds.
I wonder how the American Pie movies hold up, because like as a teenager, like those were because like Scary Movie. I don't know if that whole like parody genre that used to exist.
Hot Shots.
Aye. Super Troopers holds up.
Man, I fucking love, because I used to love what I called gangster movies weren't like mafia movies. What I called gangster movies were like movies that have got Tupac in it.
Right, okay.
Omar Epps is in gangster movies, right? Like
Aye.
it was always like Boys in the Hood and fucking Juice and stuff like that, right? And they done a parody of that. The same guys that done Scary Movie before Scary Movie came out had one, and it was like an amalgamation of all the titles. I'll see if I can get this right. Don't Be a Menace to South Central Wales, Drinking Juice in the Hood. And it was like all of the titles merged together. Yeah. And I fucking loved that because it was just a piss take of all my favourite films from back then.
Oh, sorry, good boy.
But there was one bit where in Boys in the Hood where he's just Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character's just like run down, he's like air punching. Right. He's just like fucking so annoyed at getting like harassed by the cops and shit like that, and all the trouble that he's in. I can't mind the plot, but fucking when they did it in Don't Be a Menace to South Central, it was one of the fucking Wayans brothers just fucking crying and swinging, but like he had like 13 kids, and every time he swung, one of the kids right in the room, he was just teeing off on all these youngins, if I remember right. And I just remember that when I was in my teens, that was the funniest shit I'd ever seen, was just this guy just battering out these youngins.
What was that, the funniest movie from your teenage years and your childhood? Or
you know what, probably, because my favourite film by miles was Friday. And I know that was a comedy, but like for me, it didn't make us like laugh out loud, but it was at that age where who loves orange soda? Everything's quotable. Mm-hmm. You could quote practically every fucking scene in Friday, and that would be your banter with your mates.
Aye.
Would just be like, "Hey, Miss Parker."
Aye. The one that always was the funniest movie I watched was Drop Dead Fred. Hence, fucking that tattoo there. With Rick Mail.
Oh, the scene where like he goes underneath a skirt, looks up a skirt and goes, "Ooh, cobwebs."
Yeah, and at the age I remember laughing at that at the age of 8 and not knowing why, just because it was like, oh, it's because it's old and that's a gross thing, so of course you'd have gross thing. And then as an adult, you're like, oh, it's because she's not had sex for fucking years. I get it. I would have, if you want to know what would have set me over the edge and sent me to America and made me do a mass shooting, they were going to, after the death of Rick Mail, one of the greatest comedy actors of all time, they were going to remake Drop Dead Fred with, and just
don't say James Corden.
Oh, actually worse. Objectively less talented at stand-up.
Jack Whitehall.
No, I like being mean about Jack Whitehall.
That's what I thought you were doing.
No, I love being mean about Jack Whitehall, but he's definitely funnier than James Corden, which isn't saying much, but he's definitely funny. Russell Brand.
Oh no.
They haven't done it. Like, I think, you know.
The only answer I think would be Jim Carrey.
I just think don't touch it. Like I think
the only answer would have been Robin Williams.
Yeah, I would have taken that. I do think there needs to be, and I know there'll be generations before me who were like, God, we should have had this as a rule years ago. But there should be something in Hollywood where they just put like a halo around a movie and it's illegal forever to ever remake it or do a fucking spin-off. You've just got to leave it untouched, right?
Aye.
Lord of the Rings.
You know what? You could have said that about Trainspotting, but I think they've fucking done a belter of the sequel of Trainspotting.
Wasn't there a sequel? Wasn't there a Trainspotting 2 books?
It wasn't because the other Trainspotting book's a prequel.
Oh, okay.
The Skag Boys,
Aye.
which is fucking horrendous read, by the way. I mean, it's a great read, but like some of the shit that happens and it's fucking lifting.
I loved Trainspotting, both movies. Couldn't read the book, man. I do not. First of all, I really only like fantasy and sort of genres. I can't read shit in somebody else's fucking accent. That's my nan. I'm like, just man, could you type up normally and I'll do the voice in my head? It's like, is that, can that be the way it's done?
Even as a Scottish person, you didn't like that?
Nah, hate it. Really, really hate it. I think I don't think it's
I would probably find it cringe if I was reading like harsh Geordie.
Aye.
Because I don't like reading my own material if I write it out phonetically. I have to write my material out like when I date, because I start doing it the other way around now. I'll say it on stage first and then write it down if I ever get round to that. And when I write it down with the actual words, how they're spelt, so there's no squiggly lines on anything on the laptop. But when I first started, I gave it a shot, like typing how I talk, and it just made us really insecure about how I talk. I just look at my words on paper and go, yeah. But like when I say them, I feel fine. But when I say E instead of you,
God, I'm just
like 4 E's or whatever. I'm just like, nah. Or nah, K-N-A-A.
K-N-A-I.
Nah, I didn't nah.
Aye, I couldn't. like even in like fantasy books, there's stuff where they're like, you know, it's a barbarian character, and they're like, so we're just going to type in short grunts. I'm like, just describe. I'll do the acting. I'll do all the extra shit. Please just give me the information, and I'll make the play in my head how I want to see it.
I love it when a narrator gets the voice right in a audiobook. Because you're like, all right, I really think you're adding something now that I wasn't getting from your own internal monologue.
Do you like Michael Kramer on the Wheel of Time audiobooks?
Yes.
I think he's good. I cannot, because I'm such a sexist piece of shit. Was her name? Kate Woman.
Oh, when it switches to her.
Aye.
Yeah.
Did you also just think that was Michael Kramer doing a girl's voice?
I thought he was just holding his nose.
Just pinching his willy.
Just having a sip of a helium balloon. Just getting through it, you know.
I do worry that like my impression of all women on stage, like for all the jokes that I've done that are definitely sexist and misogynist, because a lot of the time that's the joke and people call that out because they're bored. Fair enough. Nobody has ever called out the fact that any time I do an impression of a woman on stage, it's, oh, hello, I'm a lady. Like, that's, like, it's the most of it. It's like South Park's Asian voice, but for women.
You do it when you're doing Dungeons and Dragons as well.
Yeah.
You've got your goblin voice, you've got the normal voice, normal.
And then
by that I mean men.
Yeah.
And then you've just
Because men are normal. Men is the standard. Straight white man is the standard selection on the computer screen. And if you want to make your character different, you can slide the bar this way. But straight white man, normal. Correct. Continue. Don't clip that.
And then you have other.
Yeah. Hello, I work in a pub. All women.
I'm a strumpet. I'm a buxom strumpet.
I'm a big vicious queen, and I earned my right to this throne, I tell you. All women, that's what they all are to me.
Fisher waif. You've got man and fisher waif.
Different male accents, because men can be different. You know, of course they can. Women all the same. Oh, it's all this, isn't it? This is what I mean about it's you know, is it still misogyny if it's sarcastic misogyny? The answer is yes. It's like ironic racism. Still racism, buddy.
Yeah, you just
Don't get me wrong. It's funnier than regular racism.
you're
but it's as clever as regular racism.
It's like the thing we had about Muggle Corner is like, even if you do a Muggle thing as a parody, like May the 4th be with you on the 5th of May.
Yeah, you're still...
Right? You're still, like, you're taking the piss out of the thing. You're self-aware, but you're still involved in it.
Yeah.
You're still circling the drain just further away from the centre of the drain. That's all you've done.
That being said, I do. For me, it's the, you know, the escapism.
Well, like, let's get to our tour now, because we mentioned we're in Sydney now, and I'm at the point of the tour now where I've stopped being a tourist. I'm like, I got invited to Bondi Beach yesterday, and I haven't been to Bondi Beach in about 10 years. I've been to Sydney a couple of times since, but it would have been nice to go and have a cocktail. It's about a 25-minute taxi away, and all I could think was, I'm watching The Sopranos at the minute. I just want to watch an episode of that. I've got a good book on the go that I'm getting towards the end of. Got groceries in the fridge. I just wanted to be in the house.
Aye, man, you're allowed to. It's so rare on the road to like have a base when it feels like home. So and that's what keeps you fucking sane. Like, we can be road warriors for a bit, and we will be road warriors again.
Like, we've had a couple of good chunks of like gigging out of a spot. Like, we had Auckland gigging out of a spot, the Gold Coast, and then here, where for at least 2 of those days, you woke up in the bed that you're going to go to bed in for a couple of days in the middle with the travel day either side. So, like, still a good 3-4 nights sleep. And in moments like that, you kind of just want to fucking sink into the couch.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at with it too. I know, like, it was good that the gig was at the Sydney Opera House, because I feel like we've got to tick the box of like, there's the Harbour Bridge, there's the Opera House, and we've got to like get a photo and like have a bit of tourism. But like, optionally, I would have probably stayed in the house on that day too if we didn't have a gig.
Yeah, man. Unless I was gigging at the Sydney Opera House, you could have brought me to Australia 50 times and I never would have fucking visited it.
Really?
No, man. It looks like it does on the pictures. Like, it's my standard.
I find this so strange about you.
Like, it's just, man, there
That
are...
you don't want to experience the thing you've seen a photo of. It's like, oh, why would I want to fuck? I've got a porn mag.
Well, sometimes aye. Man, I wank heaps more than I fucking have sex. It's more convenient.
Aye, but when you do have sex, you're like, oh, thank God, the real thing.
Yeah, so I'm gonna, yeah, but that, like, fucking, man, that's the Grand Canyon, right? That there are some things that I'm like...
Alright, Cara, if you listen to this, you didn't mean that.
If we've... Like, there are some things that are worth seeing. Buildings, not. There is no... They're good to look at and they're amazing to perform in. I like buildings. I love buildings that are performance venues, and I don't like how they look. It's special for me is the statement of getting to play there, having that little fucking badge there. But man,
you don't need to say it because this is what's always been a tricky one for me when I'm booking my holidays. I really want to see the pyramids. I really do.
Don't go to Egypt, man.
I just never want to go to Cairo.
Aye.
I reckon Cairo is going to be guff.
It's shite, and you can't take women there. Like, everywhere, like, it's really, really shit. It's one of the worst places in the world to go as a tourist, and, like, even Egyptians will tell you that.
Can we just do a gig there? Do you reckon we can get a gig in Cairo just so we can have a look at the pyramids, just tick the box?
Nah, it's like Saudi Arabia and fucking Dubai for me. Sort yourself out, and then I'll fucking visit. Like,
the way you and Cara enjoyed Singapore, I really think you might like Dubai. It's two sides of the same coin.
I know, but Singapore, yeah, but and I've already been to Singapore, so I just don't need the other one. And I know I know there is religion in Singapore because of course. And
the hotel buffets and
down
stuff.
Your
and
fucking like I cannot express it because I mean I can't.
And how nice the hotels are. You like the finer things in life, and you get the Dubai experience that.
But I'm going to be surrounded by religious people who I don't respect, and I don't respect the lifestyle choices. I don't respect the religion. I don't tolerate. I think it's all disgusting.
Towards homosexuality.
Yeah, no,
towards drinking.
Yeah, it's rancid. I've got no, and I've been offered to buy fucking heaps. Never. It's just not someone I'm gonna. Which is weird because I know morally, like, man, fucking India is corrupt as fucking awful stuff's happening there, but I don't mind their religions, maybe just because I know fucking less about them.
So basically you're just telling the world that you're Islamophobic.
Well, no, Christianity as well. Like, man, there's a reason we don't go to the fucking deep south in America, and there's a reason why we don't, that's why I fucking hate Italy. Extremophobic.
I think it's fine to be extremophobe.
Yeah.
If you've got real extremities to your belief system, then you can just be like, it's getting a bit creepy for me now. Like, I'd rather just disassociate.
Yeah, British Muslims, great. Fucking full.
Natalie's mum.
Yeah, class. Real good.
Shows the good bits, that.
Yeah, all the fucking community, all British Muslims, fucking class. Muslims in other countries. You know what? You're doing the right thing. You're keeping it there, and I'm going to fucking stay away from this thing that I absolutely hate. I'm not going to go to the deep south of America. I do not, like, fucking even Salt Lake City was uncomfortable for me, man. Because
I found it so laughable.
Oh, man, you're surrounded by people you're going, I don't respect any of you. I don't respect any of your beliefs. I'm objectively smarter than all of you because you all hold these stupid, dumb beliefs. And I can't say any of this out loud because none of you respect actual freedom of speech and you would all fucking kill me. Like, that's... it's a danger to have my strong opinions in very religious countries because I cannot keep the disdain from my face when I see religious people.
I had a really funny thing on the go when it was a few years back when like Elliot was single and hadn't been laid in a long time, and I just kept going to I was like at the Vatican praying for him to get laid, and then I went to Salt Lake City and I'm at the Mormon Mecca, just like, come on, just one of you gods, one of you gods help Elliot.
I always think I'm a progressive person, and then, like, I can't remember what part of New York it is, but where it's like I drove through, and it's the real Hasidic Jews, and like as somebody like we were like I've been to World War II memorials, I've watched lots of documentaries, like I know how awful the fucking Holocaust, and not even just the Holocaust, the stuff that the Jews have gone through for literally thousands of years, like
the pogroms even before the Holocaust.
Like one of the most, if not the most persecuted religion in the world, right? And the reason these people, the Hasidic Jews, are so strict in their faith is because of the Holocaust. And when they fled and survived, and they're like, oh my God, we're just going to be fucking attacked forever, and we've got to hold on to this thing that the rest of the world just seems to want to destroy. I understand that logically. And then you drive to that part of it and you're like, fuck, that's a stupid hat. Fuck, that's a stupid hat and that's a stupid haircut. You look ridiculous. I can't. And then you're just in your head being like, just bottle all up. Just
bottle it all up. It's funny as well because I'll always look at that with like when I see them like dressing the kids in a specific way, and not just Hasidic Jews, but like in all religions, right? All religions that are like full on like strict, and they've got this strict discipline like life for their child, and like brainwashing them and all that. I always look at that with like a bit of disdain, just going like, can you not just let the kid make their own mind up? Just teach them to be open minded, and then start teaching them these in like a later part of school, so like they can choose. And then I'm there just putting your child in a tune top.
Well, but like
saying that they're going to come to the Newcastle games to my church of St James's Park ahead of all of the other religions that are available that you could choose when you're.
But here's the thing: if you give children freedom of choice, not a single one of them would ever become religious. Ever.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Unless they became an alcoholic and that was the way out of it, because that seems to be the only later in life reason.
Yeah. Wonder if we have any religious followers left on this.
Probably, but like probably ones that like are a bit of a laugh, and they don't mind laughing at themselves and others. They don't mind a little bit of intolerance.
I don't know if I could listen to a podcast where someone vehemently fucking hated me that much.
But like you were saying, that's your shtick, and like they wouldn't even take you seriously.
Yeah,
you're like actually hate these people, and you're like, oh look at Daniel doing one of his bits. You're like, no, I physically hate them. I want them to die. I just think they could kill themselves. Look what he's saying.
Like,
can you stick a finger?
Daniel hates everything. That's what the show is.
Can you stick a middle finger up at my mate and tell them to die? you're like the fucking kid on Black Mirror with a fucking glass to his neck.
That is good. That I can just say, I'm like, hey, I tell everyone I want them to die, and if you're religious, it's just a coincidence that I say it to you hella more. But I do think you should all go meet your God. And I think regardless of what religion you belong to, if you love your God that much.
It'd be so fucking funny if there's some kind of fucking afterlife and I just get up there and you're just there just blushing. Just like, man, like forget what I said when I was down there, man.
Like, when you say that you're omnipotent and you know everything, you're not listening to everything all the time though. Like you've got things to do. It's not like it's not just all run around or do you like
God's like I'm not omnipotent, Daniel, but you did record it and put it on the internet, so I can listen to your podcast.
So you're a fan.
I mean, I didn't listen to any of the patrons.
Yeah.
I was spending £3.
Yeah. And hey, Allah, I don't know why you're so pissed off. I was too scared to be mean to your followers, so you can fucking pipe down, laugh. But you. I'm like, look, yeah, I definitely said I thought the attire was silly a bunch of times, but let's be honest, this guy's taking a fucking beating here.
Do you think you'd be like as harsh on like Islam as you are of Christianity if they didn't act so like you're not Charlie Hebdo? Mm-hmm. You're not getting that from Christians. You're not getting a Charlie Hebdo attack for somebody that does a cartoon about Christians.
Have you heard of America? Like the country. You're telling me, right, what religion do you think 95% of mass shooters belong to?
I don't think they're doing it in the name of religion.
Yes, they are. Yes, they absolutely fucking, not all of them, but yes, but they shot up a black fucking church like 3 fucking years ago. They're huge. All the like religious murders in America regularly. Absolutely 100%.
A religious motivated attack?
100%. I would, pulling a fact out my arse, I would say minimum 100 times a year.
All right. I was blinking at that one.
Yeah, man. Christianity has absolutely led and still leads to mass fucking murder. Because I always thought that was like psycho fucking gun-toting hillbillies
what do you think? Happened to be Christians. I didn't think it was religiously motivated.
No, it's all in like... not all of them. Like, don't get me wrong, there are some people that are just fucking... And America has very poor mental health care and regular fucking health care. So, there's definitely... So
you're saying the Christians could come after you because of the blasphemy that you've
100%. Yes, yeah.
Very funny if you got victim of a Christian terror attack.
I know, I would feel...
It would be the worst way to go.
Well, because it does feel like they're softer, because they are the lamer. And, like, I don't... Like, man, I've definitely got like a little bit. Every time I do a joke where I'm mentioning Islam, I am like, oh, I love it. Like, I have seen what these guys have done, and this is like risky. They are sensitive. Christians do not scare me at all because you fucking wank out yourselves off to a wizard. It's the lamest thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
He's getting to go.
You sing
in harmony.
Sing while holding a hand.
He's kind of be harmonising 1 minute.
Aye.
Harmonising in your gowns 1 minute. And then coming and shooting me up the next. However, man, pick a lane.
Also, I think the thing is, like, whenever there is a Muslim attack, like, it's obviously it's focused so much on the fact that it was Islam in that case. Whereas, of course, America's not going to be like, hey, there was another Christian shooting.
Christian fundamentalist. They're not going to. It's the words that they choose in the media.
Yeah. So I think that would be why.
Why I've been brainwashed with propaganda.
Yeah, well, yeah, just because they'll be like, well, there's nothing wrong with our religion because we do it, and that's good. But these fucking people over in the sandy desert, remember the sandy people from Star Wars? They were bad. Therefore, these people must be bad. Their religion's the worst.
What are they called again, the sandy people in there? Jabberwockies.
Tuscan Raiders.
What did you say?
Nothing. No, beat that. Beat that. I fucking married a Jabberwocky. I had a bunch of Jabberwockies at me wedding. I'm kidding, no, Tuscan Raiders.
Yeah. I thought you were going to go worse and just be like camel jockeys. That's my favourite type of when you're being racist about people that you're allowed to be racist to. For example, the French. Doesn't matter. The Spanish, the Italians. You can be racist to any of them because they're not racist and they all suck. So it's absolutely fine. Just tagging jockey onto their thing.
Croissant jockey,
spaghetti jockey. A fucking pipe. Okay, the other one.
Fucking meze jockeys are in Greece. It's always got to be a bit of cuisine and then you're riding it like a horse.
The other one that's always dangerous because, like, the term wog has different racial connotations in Australia than it does in the UK, because wog in the UK definitely comes from the gollywogs, which is those little fucking racist dolls that they used to have. Whereas wog over here is normally a slur towards Italian people and Greeks.
Right.
And it's a term that they use for themselves.
And do they claim it's an acronym for Western Oriental Gentleman, which would tell me that it means Chinaman?
Is that what it comes from?
Eastern,
it comes from the same place. It's like just white people were racist towards Italian people, even though they're a bit whiter, but they still called them racial slurs.
Right, got you.
So, because there's a show in Australia called Super Walk, and it's like Italian and Greek guys, and they tour. There's like Stephen Kamos used to have a really good bit, which is he was put in the paper. And he was on with a bunch of Greek acts, and the headline was "Wogs in Comedy." And obviously, Stephen Kamos is like, "What the fuck?" Because it's a different,
Because it's fucking, it's way more horrendous in the UK.
Mm-hmm. So much more, and it was jarring when I first came over here, and it was so
like using it. I'm not even gonna say it out loud, but when people use it for toilet attendance after bog.
Oh yeah,
It just feels like that is the fucking most horrendous shit. But over here, they'll just say wog.
I'm just happy. Like Mark Bonanno from fucking Anecdona calls himself a wog all the time because he's Italian. And yeah, so with that in mind, when I'm saying walk in these examples, I'm doing it from there. Paella wog.
Sombrero wogs.
It's God, I love just really, really shit basic reduction. I'm a kilt jockey or a fucking a heel and coo jockey, a fucking iron brew wog, whatever it is.
Haggis wog.
Haggis wog. Aye. No, you can't use it because
I'm a milk wog.
Are there any other good? Because we definitely can't use wog regularly. Jockey's fine. There's nothing racist about jockey. What's another good wee thing to add on there? And I'm trying to think of actual racist terms I know, and then just take it from.
So right, you've got something jockey, something wog, something.
As I know, you were doing a really weird wedding list. Something jockey, something wog, something new.
Packer, like
Oh, fudge packer, yeah, okay. Baguette packer,
the fucking onion packer. Fucking pasta packers,
yeah. Yeah.
So you've got to pack a jockey and walk it.
But, well, it's just, I'm trying to go, because here's the thing, I'm definitely...
You're a walk jockey.
Definitely racist towards all of the Spanish. All of the Spanish. Were you there when Marlena was trying to, like, she could not get it into her head that I was fucking serious, that under no circumstance are we ever going to Spain again?
Oh, I've got some... I've told you this already, but I want to talk about it on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
About Natalie, you know how she famously cuts corners to save money.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, we're flying to Hawaii. We could have been on the same flight as you, but you found one for half the price with WestJet.
With only 19 stops in between.
And then it was going to be a couple hours longer via a different place with a longer layover on a more compact plane, but we're going to get there for a bit cheaper to save money on the holiday that you're already saving money on because you've paid for the accommodation. What, do you just want it to be free, Natalie? Do you want to go to Hawaii for nothing?
Yeah.
Right? So we ended up like being stuck on the runway, disembarking the flight, and then coming back tomorrow for the flight. So we lost an entire day. And that'll always be the jewel in her crown of money saving things gone wrong. However, close in at number 2 was we're looking for flights that are going out of Glasgow on a Sunday when she finishes work, and then flying into Newcastle on a Friday, the day before Matty's wedding. So I'm looking in and I'm putting in, and I'm like, oh, we can get to Dubai, we can get to Faro, like all direct flights that are going to these places. The Faro one was reasonably cheap, and Natalie's like, okay, let's look at places in the Algarve that we can stay. And I've fucking brought up like 5 or 6 hotels that I'd love to stay in, but they're a bit overpriced. But if I'm going to be on holiday, I travel with work. If I'm going to be on holiday, it's got to feel like I'm on holiday. I don't. If I'm scrolling through the pictures of a hotel and I see a shower curtain,
Bye-bye.
fuck off, mate.
Yeah, nah.
There was one where it looked nice, but the shower was on a mixer tap where you had to like turn the hot and turn the cold until you find it. I'm like, I'm not a fucking alchemist.
Aye, I'm not here fucking breaking into like fucking vaults in a bank.
Find the perfect
Fuck, I think that's
combination.
Michael McIntyre, but I just nicked. Sorry.
Is it?
Yeah,
Not from a point and click adventure from the 90s, eh? Sure.
No. I'm pretty sure, yes.
So I'm like writing off hotels for reasons like this, right? I just like I find about 5 or 6 that are a couple of grand for 5 days for 2, which is too much to get on the Algarve, right? So I just go, this is what I'm looking for, but I can't find anything reasonably priced enough. And Natalie was just like, right, leave it to me. Right, I'll find something on.
Because to be fair to Natalie, even though, and I'll say the same about Cara, having somebody who is money conscious, it's
essential for me.
It's a really good thing. They are the brakes on our.
I had no brakes, man.
Yeah.
I was in fucking 30 grand of debt when I met Natalie.
Yeah.
And even though you helped us mostly with that by providing us with lots of work,
yeah,
she fucking fixed the hole in the bucket that money was gone into.
Yeah, and also make sure that it doesn't get there. Like having Cara be conscious of all my stuff, it's a really, really good personality trait, and we are just 2 spoiled boys whining that we don't get to spoil ourselves as much as we want to fucking spoil ourselves.
So Natalie, bless her, right, goes right.
She's really good at organisation stuff. I think we know that from how successful the Douglas Bone has been in a matter of fucking months.
Me house move.
Aye.
The move to London.
She's really good
wedding.
at all that shit.
Like literally everything that we've done, she's fucking nailed the organisation of it, right? So,
but I think it's fair to say the tightest part of her is her fist.
So she goes, "Ooh, I'm going to book this one. It's half the price of the ones that he said, but like it looks the same if you look through the photos." And I'm like, "Oh, fucking sweet, yeah, do it, book it, boom." She books the flights to Faro, books the hotel, and then like 12 hours later, just sends us like loads of laugh emojis. Saying, "I've just been chatting to my dad, and apparently that town's in Spain." She'd literally went down the price of the hotels until she'd left the country completely and was in another country.
A worse country. An infinitely worse country.
She was in the Spanish answer to Berwick. Fucking we're going to El Berwick on holiday. And we're going to spend more on hotel transfers than we would have. I think she's getting in touch with him, and she's actually sent a strongly worded letter to TripAdvisor going, if I put my parameters to Portugal, don't serve up hotels in Spain.
Aye. Because
that's not a country I want to go.
I'm trying to think of, is there a bigger drop-off in the world between a border of a country
than Portugal
than
to
Portugal, Spain? Portugal is like 10 out of 10 in terms of fun, food, beauty, people. Spain is a 1. Spain, I won't even fly through Spain anymore because being in an airport with Spanish people makes me want to kill myself. Well, that's not true. I want to kill all Spanish people.
Does Finland border with Sweden? Saying that though, the people of Finland aren't bad.
Yeah, the people in Finland aren't bad.
People aren't bad in Finland.
It's just a bit, you get there and you're like, oh, this is a bit depressing, and I do understand why you're all into really angry rock.
East Germany and West Germany, you haven't even left the country. It was just the difference in hotel decor for me. It was like we'd moved from like the year 2020 to the 70s.
Yeah.
In hotel decor.
Oh wait, hold on. What borders Croatia to Italy? Does Croatia? I feel like Croatia might border Italy. Like just because Croatia's got that long fucking sea border, Italy's there, and Italy's. I don't hate Italy as much as I hate Spain.
Yeah,
no.
I think you're right with Portugal and Spain.
It's the biggest drop off in the world.
Portuguese must be so smug at how much a better neighbour they are.
Yeah.
But then again, though, like I was going to say to Spain that they better in like the terms of football. I'm only saying that because their leagues like more prestigious than the Portuguese league. But as a national team, the fucking Portugal have produced arguably better players.
Yeah, but Spain did have won the World Cup.
Portugal just won the Euros, didn't they?
Aye.
So they're still
And in the lamest way.
it's still a much more competitive level than England and Scotland are.
Yes, aye. Sweet. Does Croatia share a border with
But
Italy?
even then,
No,
though,
'cause I
Italy,
feel like
Italy, you
getting
kind of
you-
shit on Italy from that higher height because they've got fucking vineyards and nice, like...
It's across the water, but it's blocked by Slovenia. There's a
fucking
tiny
knew
bit
it'd
of
be one of those
Slovenia
ones.
blocking.
is it? So we're gonna change it. Like we're gonna dig our heels in and change it just due to principle. But that was very funny when she got back, and I was like, "No one know it was cheaper."
It's in Spain.
That was like the
Ireland, Northern Ireland. That's a drop off.
I don't know. You know, I think that's putting Ireland on a pedestal. That
Yeah, yeah. Dublin is but Dublin is so fun to kick in.
it's so fun and like
But
in both places I did love the people. Like it's the crack.
I like Belfast as a gig. Belfast as a city doesn't offer anything. Like I don't think there's a good night out in Belfast. And if there is a good night out in Belfast, it's because of the people you're with. There's not.
You know what? I've never been in Belfast thinking, oh, this would be a nice city break with my wife.
Oh yeah.
But I have been in Dublin thinking like, but then some of my experiences in Dublin, I've seen like the underbelly of it, and it's fucking grimy. Like,
oh, Dublin's a shithole. Dublin is definitely going to be in the top 5 worst capital cities in the world. Like just in terms of Paris is also out there, by the way.
but it's also a belt night out.
Aye.
Maybe them two things come hand in hand. If your city's grimy, you might have.
How does Spain suck at everything across the board? How do they just get it all wrong at every? Because they'll sit there and be like, "What about our food?" And you're like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Like Portugal's doing the exact same shit, man. Like you're not special.
Aye. Tapas is quite annoying as well.
Yeah.
Like I occasionally go for tapas with Natalie, but like if I was just looking for somewhere to eat on my own, right, I'd walk past every tapas place. I'd eat fast food before I had tapas on my own. Like you have to be there sharing it. Like I think it's not. It's you kind of like that's not you can't boast on that. Like I don't think they can boast on that cuisine.
No. It's not the best food in the world. It's not the best wine in the world. It's not the best company in the world. You're horrible people. You really are. You're so really fucking unpleasant. And this is coming from a really unpleasant man himself.
To each other, like I always see Spanish people talking, and I don't understand the lick of the language, but like I fucking know that they're being mean to each other.
Yeah.
And they're being hostile, and they're being snarky, just because of the tone of it. I've never seen two Spanish people having a conversation just going, "Oh, they look like they have respect for each other."
Oh, but it's the language of love. No, it's not. You're all angry.
That was France.
And Italy claims to be the language of love as well.
Does it?
Yeah. And Spain does. Spain's up itself. The Spanish think they're romantic because they'll hold you down. It's a nation of sex offenders, I'm going to say it.
Pedos?
Aye, every single one of you. I bet it was yous that got Madeleine McCann. I'm going to say that right now. I reckon you went over your fucking border, and because you know Portugal's so much fucking better than you, infinitely, right? And because you've got no sense of like, let's improve ourselves as a country, all we can do is drag down other people, like the way depressed people and bipolar people do. That's what you are, you fucking pieces of shit.
I reckon you keep around that hotel on the border.
Aye. You went over, you dragged her over, and you were like, oh, it's Portuguese, it's fucking, it's you. In fact, I'm willing to bet 95% of crimes committed in Portugal are committed by Spanish people.
Aye. I actually think the Holocaust wasn't Germany.
It was you dirty fucking paella walks.
You fucking tomato jockeys.
Oh, you fucking, you fucking pedo packers.
Olive oil munchers.
Aye, just all wrong. What about? But I'm Spanish and I listen to your podcast. Surely I don't fall into that.
Oh, not you.
No. I'm never coming back to Spain. There are no consequences to these fucking words. I hate you. I hate your fucking country. It's shite. It's awful, and you've got no sense of self, so you'll never improve. Fuck every single.
But you're not even
last
going
one
there
of
to
you.
save 50 quid on your trip to Portugal.
And I'm also doing this just in case, because Marlena she's like, what about if I was to do? I'm never going back to Spain.
I'm definitely going back to Spain to go to the new camp. That's a stadium I want to go into. Yeah. Watching football in Spain that's a different type of tourism. No. You kind of take that away from them. They've got good football.
Yeah, but not enough to make me want to spend a second in the worst country in the world. Like, I would honestly, what's the name of that fucking African country where they're like, just definitely do not go there. It's like, it's the most dangerous country in the world for tourists.
Morocco. The Dominican Republic of Congo.
No.
Somalia. You don't want to go into Mogadishu.
Mogadishu, thank you. That's exactly the site I was talking about. Yes, thank you. I would genuinely go there with Caleb. Before
you went to Barcelona for the match.
Yep. Absolutely. And I'd have Cara walking around in a fucking bikini. I'd have money hanging in my back pocket, right?
Throwing a Rolex in the sky.
Yeah. Just juggling things before I spent a second in that paella munching piece of shit country.
I think I'd like
to cheer me up. Go and find out what the average age a Spanish person dies at.
I'd actually like to go to more African countries.
So would I.
Like as a tourist. My auntie and uncle, they're retired now, and they go away for months to Kenya. They just go and live some of their retirement in Kenya, and they've befriended people on the nature reserves and that.
Spanish life expectancy is 82 years.
Oh, got him. Not enough.
I hope there's like one of them that's lived to like 20,000. And he's just brought the average up.
Let's talk about countries we don't hate. Australia. We are still on tour, and I know we complain about you a lot, but also, you can take it and you deserve it. Sydney Opera House was amazing. Thank you so much for everyone who came to that.
That was a phenomenal experience.
Aye.
It just felt good. It was just one of them where, like, as soon as you like walk on stage, you just see the Xbox achievement thing just come up on the bottom of your screen, just going unlocked, and it's got like a gold trophy next to it on the PlayStation.
Your dick grows an extra inch. And you're like,
yeah, I have like, whoa, a 2-inch dick.
We've got other Sydney shows, and most of the Enmore ones are sold out. I think the 5th one is about half full capacity at the moment, so we're not adding any more shows until that sells out. So that's your last chance to see us in Sydney. Melbourne's been announced.
And I'm going to do a weekend.
Please sell that out, because it's such a big fuck you to the head of the Melbourne Comedy Festival, and I cannot tell you how important that is to me. Now, the money means nothing, but the head of the Melbourne Comedy Festival stopped me.
Did you hear that? He's just lowered his ticket price to cost. He's just lowered it. It's literally cost price now.
The head of the Melbourne Comedy Festival blocked me, Kai, and Mark Nelson for coming to the Melbourne Comedy Festival for 4 years because of a 20-year-old. Even though our careers were going just fine and all the comedy clubs were booking well and respected well, she just had
beef with her agent, I
She
guess.
had beef with her
She
manager
had,
from several
she had
years
a
ago.
relationship with somebody that wasn't us that decided to make her take that out on us.
So it got to the point where our amazing management in Century put their fucking foot down one year and we're like, we're not letting you block these people coming over anymore. Like, it's fuck you. They brought me over, and then obviously she was very nice and friendly because she's a fucking snake with tits. And
Cock jockey?
she then made, first time I did Melbourne Comedy Festival, I was in the worst venue, which was no fucking coincidence, the worst room in the worst fucking venue. I had the time of my fucking life because Melbourne audiences are fucking great, not in comparison to the rest of Australia, but in general they're pretty fucking good. She stopped me getting nominated for, I mean, I've got no proof of that, but, you know, those are, the shows that made me famous around the world.
When weren't even in the conversation.
Best newcomer. I didn't get nominated for best newcomer.
Even though you got held back from arriving for a good fucking 7 years.
Yeah, she is an objectively evil person, and playing the largest venue at the fucking festival is just, it makes me so fucking happy.
So
because she had nothing to do with it. She had nothing.
A few years back, there was just the perfect storm, wasn't there? Where like I don't think Auntie Donna were doing the festival that year. There was a couple of that big acts that maybe Will Anderson wasn't, and you sold the most tickets, and that was like an award that they had was the People's Choice because that's what the people chose to see ahead of everything else. And she had no sway over like the subjectivity.
Yes, she couldn't stop me from
award.
winning that award. She had no influence over it.
Chucked it in the river.
Yeah. I didn't go to it essentially told me that I'd won the award. I said, cool, tell her to shove it up her cunt. I'm not fucking interested. And for like 3 days, they're like, we understand where you're coming from, but we have to be professional. And we have
other acts at this festival.
And we're not going to do
the relationship
anything.
is important for their progress.
And, you know, and we don't hate her as much as you hate her because she never did anything, you know, directly to us. But, we will go there. And I was like, go there, don't thank the festival, only thank the fans and only thank Century Entertainment. George came back with the award in a sealed envelope, and me and Auntie Donna went down to the river and chucked both in without opening them.
Nice.
Yep.
Imagine that was like a massive heartfelt apology.
I wouldn't accept an apology from it. I wouldn't accept it, but you do not get to tamper and delay my fucking career, and then when I'm successful, grab onto the fucking coattails. She's burned up.
Get your press release.
Yeah,
with your name
it's
all over it.
burned. She could grovel on her fucking knees, and I would never forgive her.
I wouldn't recognise her. I'd be like, who's this begging?
Oh, she's...
I don't think I've seen her before.
Yeah, because, you know, for her, you don't offer anything, so why would she? So please, if you're in Melbourne, come and help us give a massive fuck you to this horrible cow.
By getting you another... You're going to fill the river with it,
No, because like the only reason I won the People's Choice Award that year was because it was the year that I had to do the lockdown it was during COVID.
Yeah.
So...
And you weren't just going for 4 days.
Yeah, and it was so like Ursula Carson was unable to get over. Auntie Donna weren't doing their full fucking thing. I was not I was only People's Choice Award was because the borders were closed to most other people.
That's people's fifth choice.
Yeah.
Right, so wrap this up. We're going to Melbourne next. So I am anyway. You can if you're watching this as it's released, I'm going to be in Melbourne for the next 5 days. We're going to do your show in the middle of that run. Mm-hmm. And then come back again in Melbourne. Mm-hmm. And also at the end of your tour, we're going to do a podcast on, I think it worked out as the 23rd at the Toffin Town. Keep an eye on, look, I'll put it on the Patreon as a memo and I'll put it on Twitter, but I'll make it public so that the public can read the memo as well. So you don't need to be signed up to the Patreon to read the details.
Yeah. And also please do come to that show because when it goes in general sale, scum are just going to come. Scum that see my fucking name and don't listen to this podcast are going to come to and we don't want them there because they're not good podcast audiences.
It needs to be you all.
Aye. So please do whatever you can to come because...
Remember when we've done that live podcast in Amsterdam to people who didn't even know who we are?
We were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it strangely worked because we talked to the podcast listeners as if the audience wasn't there. Just kind of, there's just loads of people looking at us.
Yeah. Just
I don't know anyone.
This is awkward.
We just sealed ourselves in a little bubble into the podcast.
So I guess we'll talk to you in a couple of days when hopefully my nicotine addiction is better and I'm less of a miserable cunt. I apologise to anyone I offended during this podcast, except for the fucking Spanish. I hope every last one of you fucking dies.
I think you're all right.